licensed funeral director for over 2 decades. I worked very extensively and closely with our local crematory. I was taught by that crematory that they need to cremate in between 2,000 and 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So the question is,
yeah,
how hot were those fires to be able to incinerate or cremate human remains?
Do you see that? I mean, we have the technology to do that on a small scale. Why wouldn't the military use that on a large scale?
Now here's a warning for you.
Et maintenant, un avertissement pour vous.
There's trouble ahead.
So I gleaned some information, some footage. Some of you might think this is the big C, which is conspiracy theory. Okay, but from now on, I'll just say the big C. It's not. Well, you'll watch it, you'll see it. We talk about technology that I'm just going to get to the chase. What we thought 5 years ago in these little fringe groups, there was a small group of people that would inundate the blogosphere, would inundate Google with their websites, and YouTubers. They were content creators, right? They were the truth stream media. And then they were wiped out during right after, like during the Trump administration, they thrived. Some of us believed them because we were already prepped, especially as Latter-day Saints, from people like Gary Allen, Ezra Taft Benson, the Skousen brothers. The Skousen brothers. It sounds like a band. A country band, bluegrass band. And all those conspiracies, right, that some of us believed it. But then a lot of these truthers that were inundating were wiped off the internet. They were bullied out. Some of them went to Rumble, right? And then it kind of died down. People start forgetting it. Your spouses might be convincing you that there's other alternative voices out there and other theories that might sound more credible, and then you just forget about it, right? And then it starts to haunt you again because it starts coming out of the woodwork. You know, we have the islands, so-and-so's island, that gets popped, people dying in prison, the Clinton murders. You know, those start coming to fruition. We've got stuff about Obama coming out. Those are little things. I mean, it goes on, but I'm not going to say it. But you know what I'm saying, right? So, Paradise, California. You know, how did those fires start? And then later on, we're like, nah, that's not what happened. It was high winds. Da 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 da. Okay, just wait till you watch some of this footage. I'm going to be reacting to it. And this is not fun for me. This is gut-wrenching. This is horrible. And then there's the question of where are these people, these missing people? I'm not going to say little people that starts with a C. We know they're little people. YouTube is weird, I'm telling you. They flag you for weird, just common words that people use because they know why you might be. They want to know why you're using the word, you know, little person that belongs to me because I'm their parent. Okay, and other things. So let's get on with this. So, brothers and sisters, why would so many people think something was conspiratorial if it wasn't? Do you know what I mean? We have been convinced, we have been conditioned, especially in the last 7 years. And people before us, before the internet, Gary Allen, none dare call it a conspiracy, and go on, and then his mentors, and then the opposite end, Alice Bailey, Madame Blavatsky, Karl Marx. Communism isn't a conspiracy, right? And then Albert Pike, and the World Economic Forum. We just thought that was a good group that wanted the world to be okay economically, right? But my point is that I'm sorry, I'm not good with words. But my point is that if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's possibly a duck. So just look at these ducks I'm going to show you, okay? But there is a trigger warning. I hate to use that word, but there is a trigger warning. All right, let's go. What's happened to the little people? What's happened to people? Are they dead? I've had some people make comments to me. I had 3 people email me about this. Or is this HT? Blank trafficking, right? Are they, in other words, are they killing? And I'm starting to sound like I did 6 years ago, but then I swore off a lot of the what my wife actually convinced me that some of these might be wrong. Now Andrea's having second thoughts, just like we had second thoughts about Pleasure Island, about what happened 22 years ago. I think it was 22 years ago. And many other things that I'm not going to get into, right? The big C. I told you what the big C was, right? Theories. Let's just say theories. Okay. Nut job theories. There we go. Nut job theories. I'll just nut or butter, right? Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Are we cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Okay, so watch this.
I just can't freaking see.
Okay, these are people trying to escape the Maui fires, and apparently they were blocked from leaving.
Just put your phone down. All video.
We're not letting anyone up. We're just trying to get out. Now we're out of it.
We can see now.
Okay.
I can't believe that. It was
Holy.
like black. That was crazy. Wow.
Ooh.
We're good now.
Yep, we're good. We're out.
Yeah. Here's another engine. It's good.
Yeah.
It was right next to our car.
Right.
Could have reached out and touched it.
I don't know which way to go. I guess just keep going away from the fire.
Yeah. Both sides, to the left and the right, are on fire. It's scary.
So all I could hear was get out, get out, get out in my head. Punch the screen part out.
So these are survivors that thought they were in a real live nightmare, basically.
Flames and smoke came out of that window that I just jumped out of, and our whole house was consumed with flames.
They felt like they were in a real live nightmare. Not that they thought they were in a nightmare. It felt like a nightmare. Sorry.
And all around me was, all I could see was fire and smoke and stuff, and it was so eerie. There was not a sound other than flames and cackling smoke, but in the eeriness, I felt I was in a Twilight Zone nightmare.
We never thought during our lifetime that we would ever.
These poor people, some of these Latter-day Saints, some not, some just people, loving Heavenly Father's children. And you're going to see, as this unfolds a little bit, that this is not what this might not be what we think. And you're going to see that these powers that be have the ability to destroy us. They do. And I mean, if you could get laser surgery, right? And you can have lasers remove hair from you and tattoos and do eye surgery and they solder things inside your body. You don't think that the government and our military have the ability to make something mega way bigger than that? They do.
Be in a position like this, it is like, it's like a nightmare. You know, we're in a nightmare. We lost everything. Everybody had hope. Somebody would have a home. You know, at least save one home. But nobody got saved. Everybody lost everything.
People were evicted. Are these indigenous people that they're trying to keep from inheriting land, like generations to come? I know this sounds crazy, brothers and sisters, but there's sober-minded, sane people, sane, S-A-N-E, sorry, my teeth, S-A-N-E people saying this, okay? Not fruitcake. Not people that used to be labeled as fruitcakes. So mainstream media is publishing articles like this one. As flames tore through a West Maui neighborhood, car after car of fleeing residents headed for the only paved road out of town in a desperate race for safety. Car after car was turned back toward the rapidly spreading wildfire by a barricade blocking access to Highway 30. One family swerved around the barricade and was safe in a nearby town. 48 minutes later, another drove their four-wheel drive car down a dirt road to escape. One man took a dirt road uphill, climbing above the fire and watching as Lahaina burned. Many of the survivors are angry and haunted by the thought that just a few minutes of notice could have saved many people's lives. We needed like 10 more minutes and we could have saved a lot of kids, he said, choking back tears. This is horrible. This is not good. If we just had like 10 or 15 minutes of warning. So I was thinking about, should I show this? Is this too graphic for... I mean, I know you guys are getting this elsewhere and you're watching the news and you're adults. I understand that. And I know that's not the main reason you come to this channel. But this is related to what we believe we read about in the Book of Mormon. And people don't believe in the Book of Mormon. And what does the Book of Mormon talk about? Ezra Taft Benson. I know this might sound like a trite phrase or something that's just redundantly used over and over again, where Ezra Taft Benson says that there's no conspiracy theory in the Book of Mormon. There's conspiracy fact. Right? So this is Matt Walsh. Just to review, the local government in Maui didn't use the sirens to alert residents to the fire, didn't allow access to water to put out the fire, and blocked the only exits out of town. This is one of the great scandals in American history. Many people should be in prison. Elon Musk, they should be prosecuted if there's any justice in this world. And this is Cernovich. Cernovich tweeted, man, this is hard to read for anyone, especially if you have kids. DEI and other ESG mandated policies killed. There are multiple ways Maui ends differently. Alarms go off. Amber, sleepy emergency style texts get sent. Water basin for firefighting is filled, on and on. Brothers and sisters, don't go away. Don't go away. You're going to see some things that might change your mind if you think that this might not be conspiratorial. It might change your mind if you might not think this is something other than natural winds. I still am on the fence only because we have to be, right? We have a lot of people homeless, jobless, and without money. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tweeted, President Biden just offered a $700 payment per household to Maui residents. He's also asking for $25 billion for Ukraine. Let's do the math. Are you kidding me? Waking up to our awful situation, right? There are about 50,000 households in Maui. 25 billion adds up to 500,000 per household. That gives you some idea of what this nation is sacrificing to fund the war machine. Refugees get a one-time payment of $2,275 per refugee is currently provided to the resettlement agencies, the State Department told us. Okay, so I saw this footage of the FEMA people. I want you to put this in the comment section if you possibly can. How are you feeling? You tell me, and you tell all of us, if you will, how do you feel with the power of discernment, the spirit of discernment that you have? And I know a lot of you do have that spirit, that mantle of discernment. What do you feel when you see these people talk? When you see this same group of people? So apparently they're living pretty large. FEMA officials are staying at $1,000 a night luxury hotels in Maui amid recovery efforts in Lahaina.
Maui. Hello everyone, Governor Green here. I'm with Deanne Criswell, who is the head of FEMA, and we're honored to have her as we walk through Lahaina and Front Street where we're seeing the devastation. So thank you for coming.
Absolutely, Governor, and just appreciate.
If these people are, and you're going to know what I'm talking about as time goes on in this video, I want you to remember these people and their lack of urgency on their face. They're acting like, to me, they look like they're at a resort. They're kind of just, they act like they're talking about some convention that they're at, or I can't explain it. They don't look like there's almost like a smirk on their face, but is that just me? Am I insane? Do I need medication? Am I crazy?
You allowing me to come here with you today, and it's so important that I have an opportunity to talk with you and be on the ground and see exactly what happened. I know we're going to go talk to survivors later to have a better understanding of what this impact really is to this community and how we're going to be able to work together to provide creative solutions to support the immediate needs, but also to think about what the long-term needs are going to be.
So when you think of FEMA, you might want to remember this if you're old enough.
Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, had staged a fake news conference Tuesday with agency staffers posing as news reporters.
Had its own employees, you see them sitting down right there, pretend to be reporters and ask the questions.
This is an excerpt of the fake news conference where the FEMA staff asked their boss, well, friendly questions.
Are you happy with FEMA's response so far? I'm very happy with FEMA's response so far to make sure that we understand the situation and can bring the right support to the state. This is a FEMA and a federal government that's leaning forward, not waiting to react. And you have to be pretty pleased to see that. And ask Governor Schwarzenegger what he thinks about FEMA's performance. He'll tell you the same thing, that he couldn't be more pleased at how FEMA recognizes the role the federal government is facilitating that effort to the benefit of the state, the communities, and those disaster victims in California. So you have to be really proud at the way our FEMA team is pulled together. So I think as a nation, people should sit up and take notice that you have the worst wildfire season in history in California, and look at how well the state and the local governments are performing. Look at how well we're working together between state and federal partners. It's a good thing to see, and it should be reassuring to the American public that if a disaster does strike our country, whether it's California or a hurricane on the Gulf Coast, that we'll do the same thing. We'll pull together to support state and locals.
Being questioned by, well, the country thought they were reporters, but they were FEMA staffers posing as reporters. Homeland Security Chief Michael Chertoff called the staged news briefing, quote, one of the dumbest and most inappropriate things I've seen.
Tuesday, FEMA's deputy.
But see, you got to remember, it wasn't dumb. That's why I tell people, not everybody is in the cabal. I told my cousin that the other day. And this was back when not everybody that worked, I'm not saying everybody is today, but there's more people in it now. There's more people connected. I know you haven't heard me use a lot of this language in the past, but I'm privy. I mean, I understand what's going on. I don't talk about this much. I did at the beginning of my channel in 2019 when I started it, and then stopped immediately and took down a lot of my videos because I knew they were getting ripped down. So yeah, and this is back when there were still classic liberals in our government that didn't quite understand what was going on, maybe.
The administrator held what was called a news briefing to talk about the California wildfires. And from what we understand, the questions were posed not by reporters, but by staffers, and that distinction was not made known. Is that appropriate?
It is not. It is not a practice that we would employ here at the White House. We certainly don't condone it. We didn't know about it beforehand. FEMA has issued an apology saying that they had an error in judgment. It's not something I would have condoned, and I'm sure will not do it again. You'll have to ask them about why they decided to do that.
Will anybody be reprimanded?
You'll have to ask FEMA.
Galliano Tiramani tweeted, "I've reached out to every government contact I can think of to try and get our houses to Maui." They've got these houses that unfold or something like that, but got no response. Got no response. Boxable, look at that little red mad face. That would be me too. Is prepared to divert 200 houses to Maui today. If anyone can help make that happen, email me. So remember Politier, I think he was the chief of, he was connected with one of the deadliest shootings in Vegas. And now he's running this over here. Now he is overseeing the tragedies. Now he is overseeing the tragedy here in Lahaina. And so why would they hire him? Give him a 30% boost in his income? These are the questions, right? Yeah, so you bring this guy to Maui. You put him in charge. He brings his people over, and that's what happens. You got posses. People are like, well, somebody would tell on somebody. There's no conspiracies in the government. What are you talking about? There's all these people that are just working together. Yeah, it's called the good old boy system. It's called your posse. So this Palantir guy, who's the chief of police, well, just look at him. You tell me. Use the spirit of discernment, brothers and sisters.
When we find these, our family and our friends,
now, do those guys look familiar in the back from the other videos? There's something not right going on. Something not right.
The remains we're finding is through a fire that melted metal.
I'm sure plenty of you have seen these videos that have been coming out of Maui of vehicles literally melting onto the street. The aluminum is literally melting out of the vehicles, and the melting...
This is where you guys have to pay close attention and then call me crazy. Okay.
Point for aluminum is 1220 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just crazy because, as you can see in this next video, none of the asphalt has melted along with this. And you would expect that to happen in fires that are reaching over 1220 degrees. And the melting point of asphalt is 343 degrees Fahrenheit. So make that make sense.
We have to do rapid DNA to identify them. So when we pick up the remains and they fall apart, that's what you're stepping on. I don't know how much more you want me to describe it.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why would you be coming across that? Unless there was something chemical involved, other technologies involved. And there's that guy in the back. Remember him that wouldn't give answers? There's the lady, the head of the FEMA lady, and the guy that was with her. And then it's just interesting how people can, if this guy is this, and this Palantir was over the mass shootings in Vegas.
That's what you're stepping on.
So as a former funeral home owner and licensed funeral director for over 2 decades, I worked very extensively and closely with our local crematory. I was taught by that crematory that they need to cremate in between 2,000 and 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Part. That's what you're stepping on. I don't know how much more you want me to describe it.
And licensed funeral director for over 2 decades, I worked very extensively and closely with our local crematory. I was taught by that crematory that they need to cremate in between 2,000 and 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So the question is, how hot were those fires to be able to incinerate or cremate human remains? We know that it was at a higher level than 1,500 to 2,500 because it melted the rims on the vehicles. Why are there no bodies in the cars?
Yeah, why are there no bodies in the cars? I think of HARP and what is Brandon Tatum calls him, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme. He's bought and paid for. They're all bought and paid for. Republicans, it's horrible. And now we got people saying they're bought and paid for, and we believe them. That's not a conspiracy theory. Now, if there was a guy running for president, and he said that 8 years ago that the other guys were bought and paid for up here, half of America would 80% of America would look at him like he was a loon, right? Not now. So think of the color blue and HARP. All right, listen to this. Oh my goodness. And then something goes by.
Insane. Whoa, did you see that just shoot across? Did anyone else see that?
And these things are being debunked, brothers and sisters. These things are being debunked by FEMA and by HARP. So what's up with blue and the Maui fire, right? Okay. So a blue wave laser can start a fire from a distance, from a pretty long distance, and anything blue will not catch fire. Now, I don't know if that part's true. That might just be a hypothetical thing, but anyway. So I'm just going by what other people have sent me, talked to me about, and I don't know if this is true, but we're just observing.
These homes had blue in it. I mean, it gets weird. Here, blue survived it. The cloth, the boat that survived in the ocean, and these are all just the mainstream
But
articles.
remember, we used to say something was true a long time ago, and it would get debunked, fact-checked, and then later we would find out actually that was not bunk.
The boat was blue. The car that survived, right? It's still blue. And I mean, this is what they showed in the mainstream news.
Okay, guys, this is the last episode I'm going to do for a while, but it should be a pretty good one. It's things that did not burn during the fire. I went through hours of footage.
Oh my
and
goodness!
It was pretty interesting what I found. Here are the famous umbrellas. These are actually
come on, guys.
Umbrellas. Then the sole surviving car on Front Street in front of the outlet mall. And I actually found another sole survivor car the other direction that's a little bit further south on Front Street. You can see it on the left in this frame here.
Do you see that? I mean, we have the technology to do that on a small scale. Why wouldn't the military use that on a large scale? We have lasers. It is Star Wars. We live in the days of Star Wars. So there's HARP, okay? HARP.
Being beamed into the sky by HARP is actually heating up the atmosphere, causing weather changes.
HARP is being used for weather modification. The military's own record proves it. They've admitted it within their own documents.
Now, if we have the technology to do what you just saw with the lasers, then the Lord can burn the earth. Then the Lord can burn the earth. And he's going to burn those folks. Now I sound like a loon, right? I'm on one. He's going to burn those folks that used that kind of... Maybe that's why he's going to burn the wicked. Because they're using the same technology to burn innocent people. This video is going to get ripped down.
And yet they still deny it to the public.
Even mainstream media has reported on weather modification.
And now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning.
Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and
but
actually
then
bring
you
down
guys will
lightning
be
bolts.
debunking that you have weaponry like that.
This is potentially a game changer. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but I just recorded a whole bunch of stuff and it went off. So I'm just going to be brief. Here's my final words. I already edited that video, but I'm adding some stuff. Could this be Project Bluebeam? Maybe Project Bluebeam. Who was the woman that worked for von Braun? Werner von Braun, the head of NASA, came ex-Nazi from Germany that was brought over for... He was the head of... he was part of Operation Paperclip. So this woman, I forgot her name, and I can't find her anywhere. She said that every time she worked for him, she was always around him, and he would bring up over and over and over again. He would always say, and the last card they're going to play, the last card is a false alien invasion. But remember, it's all false. It's all fake, right? And she said it was called Project Bluebeam.
And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card.
Here's a model, my design for a four-stage orbital rocket ship.
The alleged father of the American space program, Werner von Braun. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. And the funniest one of all was against...
Now, coincidentally, we got this theories about blue beams, blue lasers, burning things. I don't know. Could that be Project Bluebeam? The other thing I wanted to bring up was what the prophet had to say to the Polynesian Islands. And then we'll end it there.
So the Lord has asked me to let you know tonight that we have a solemn duty to prepare our people for the difficult days that lie ahead. Paul offered these wonderful words of advice. He said that all that will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. Please protect your families from the deception that you will see in the future. We bless you to feast upon the words of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Now here's a warning for you.
Et maintenant un avertissement pour vous.
There's trouble ahead.
Des jours difficiles vous attendent.
Prepare for attacks from the adversary. He will
What if the day of his coming was tomorrow? If we knew that we would meet the Lord tomorrow, through our premature death or through his unexpected coming, what would we do today? What confessions would we make? What practices would we discontinue? What accounts would we settle? What forgivenesses would we extend? What testimonies would we bear? If we would do those things then, why not now?